Hi, my name is Big G.
I'm so sorry.
Got him! Got him!
And 5, 4, 3, 2. Hi, my name is Big G.
And I'm Miss Phoenix, and this is the experience.
Experience, baby.
So my opinion on what I would like for it to be interpreted as is a safe place where everyone can start getting familiar with having uncomfortable conversations in regards to racism, right? So I think that this is a platform where we can allow everyone from all genders, ethnicities, and nationalities to chime in and give their perspective on if they've dealt with racism and how did they handle it, and what are some of the issues that we can battle or conquer to move forward to eliminate racism.
Yeah. You know, babe, I want to go into the discussion on how we came up with this idea. Like the fact that we were sitting down, we were talking, and a question came up. I forgot, we were watching some show, but a question came up, and the question was, if there were no oppressors in the world, no colonizers, no white people, whatever you might want to call it, if there are no white people in the world, would there still be racism? And, you know, I sat down, we talked about it, and we were like, yeah, there would still be racism in the world if there were no more white people.
Interject. Excuse me. So I feel like on this channel, we're going to make sure that everyone's perspective is heard, and then you guys, the audience, can agree or disagree, because sometimes he and I may have opposite perspectives, but yet we still can agree that there are similarities within the Black experience that we all share in common. And I have a different perspective on if racism would still exist if it wasn't for systematic racism given by the oppressor.
You know, that's going to be a conversation that we want to dive in depth with. You know, this is something we want to get into the introductions, because I want to introduce myself to you guys so that you guys know what experiences I had and, you know, what made me a person I am that could allow me to sit down and try and engage with you guys. You know, let me give a quick introduction myself one time since I'm here. I was born in Canada. I was born in a small town called Pickering, Ontario. It's a big power plant inside that area. Yeah, I grew up in a two-family, you know, mom and father, sister, brother, nice house in a nice suburban town. You know, where, you know, we were the one of 3 black families inside this small town at the time. At least it was back in the 80s and stuff like that. That's my age. But growing up in that town, you know, in Canada, even though we were 3 black families inside that town, it was a nice environment. You know, Canada's known as being a super nice place, and that town was very nice. You know, at that age, I don't think I was probably wise enough to notice racism, especially being the minority. And not only that, you know, growing up in a primarily Caucasian environment, you know, it kind of makes you a little soft. But my life took a quick $180 when my folks divorced and my mom moved us out to Brooklyn, and we moved in with her boyfriend in Bushwick.
When you step to the old dirty bastard, Brooklyn.
You know, so I was like 12 years old in Bushwick, you know, and I still had my Canada swag. You know, around that time we was wearing Doc Martens and slacks, and, you know, we was looking grunge. You know, music I listened to when I was in Canada was rock. I listened to REM and Stone Temple Pilots and all that stuff. Still like it up to today because, you know, it's part of who made me, you know. So now I'm in Brooklyn. The kids were brutal with me. They would call me all kind of stuff. Back in the day, they used to call me, "Oh, you look like a fucking Haitian," and that was an insult, to me back in the day, to people back in the day. Went through school, quickly got kind of Brooklynized, because I went through my young adulthood in Brooklyn. All my experiences, learning everything, Biggie and Tupac and all that stuff around that generation and time. I grew up with hip hop, but I had my rock and roll back in the day when I was in Canada. Well, moving on past that, because we're going to touch on a lot of stuff while we're going through this. So I went through my Brooklyn phase, in the hood and stuff like that. Graduated, went to the military, served 7 years in the U.S. Army, field artillery, doing all that whole stuff. Got a lot of brothers in there, endured a lot while I was in the military, racism, all kind of craziness while I was in the military. And, there's a lot of things I want to dive into when we talk about the military also, as to, for instance, everything what's going on with current police officers and stuff like that. Not saying anyone's bad or good or whatever it is, but, a lot of those soldiers, a lot of those police officers were in the military with me. And we're going to go deeper into items like that because they called me a surge soldier. Because when we all deployed, we deployed when President Obama, pushed for the surge where the whole bunch of soldiers had to deploy at the same time. Before we got in the plane, we were stop loss. Most of us did anywhere between 14 to 18 months overseas. Hard. It was a hard deployment. It was killings and it was fightings. It was war. It was probably the last hardest thing that we did in this country, if you ask me. But hey, so yeah, I had my military experience, and after my military experience, now came out, used my GI Bill, got my MBA, learned a lot of languages from the military. أنا يمكن أن أتكلم في لغة عربية كثيرا جدا. Learned Arabic while I was in the military. So learned French while I was in Canada. Learned Spanish while I was in the U.S. So multilingual because of all the experiences that came from. Not only that, being raised in Manhattan, you kind of went to the military, served 7 years in the U.S. Army, field artillery, doing all that whole stuff. Got a lot of brothers in there, endured a lot while I was in the military, racism, all kind of craziness while I was in the military. And, there's a lot of things I want to dive into when we talk about the military also, as to, for instance, everything what's going on with current police officers and stuff like that. Not saying anyone's bad or good or whatever it is, but, a lot of those soldiers, a lot of those police officers were in the military with me. And we're going to go deeper into items like that because they called me a surge soldier. Because when we all deployed, we deployed when President Obama, pushed for the surge where the whole bunch of soldiers had to deploy at the same time. Before we got in the plane, we were stop loss. Most of us did anywhere between 14 to 18 months overseas. Hard. It was a hard deployment. It was killings and it was fightings. It was war. It was probably the last hardest thing that we did in this country, if you ask me. But hey, so yeah, I had my military experience, and after my military experience, now came out, used my GI Bill, got my MBA, learned a lot of languages from the military. أنا يمكن أن أتكلم في لغة عربية كثيرا جدا. Learned Arabic while I was in the military. So learned French while I was in Canada. Learned Spanish while I was in the U.S. So multilingual because of all the experiences that came from. Not only that, being raised in Manhattan, you kind of fall into the melting pot of what is New York City. One block you could have little Italy, next block it's little Israel, little Mexico, Soho, all this other kind of stuff. So I've had a lot of different experiences that exposed me to different people, different types, different cultures, and it all kind of adapted into what makes me me. Now we're in upstate New York, and now it's another challenge because now we're talking about businesses and stuff. I got my MBA. I'm a pretty decent businessman, if I don't say so myself. And consistently grow businesses and do all that stuff. It's a part of me. you know, but all these experiences and dealing with corporate America and doing business as a black person, it's challenges. And these are all things that we want to get into. But I want Lamecca to speak about yourself also. I want them to get a perspective from a woman, an African American woman. I want them to get your insight also, baby.
Okay, so again, my name is Miss Phoenix. I am well known for being a self-published author. I also have a not-for-profit, an LLC. I'm a certified life, health, wellness coach, and I'm a certified master herbalist. I have recently returned back to upstate New York, which is where I'm from.
Upstate.
518, ride or die. I recently relocated back to upstate New York, which is where I'm from. I was out in Kansas City for a couple of years. Also, before that, I did a little bit of traveling to a couple of different states: Virginia, Arkansas, Georgia. But ultimately, Go Chiefs is where I landed. And I just want to talk about some experiences that I have, because I do have 2 children, so I can give my perspective as a mom of 2 boys, and I can give my perspective of a non-custodial parent, and how I've dealt with the family court system, because I feel like there's a lot of racism and discrimination within that whole little society. What else can we introduce? See, he's good at this. I thought I had this all like mapped out in my head on what I was gonna say.
You know, when you talk from the heart, you know, and it's something that you're passionate about, and you got the experience, and that's why it's so important that we share our experience, because our experience is that of a black experience. And for everybody that wants to know about the black experience, that you've been afraid to ask a black friend, or if you want to know something about our culture, you know, I want this to be, we're engaging with you guys so it could be an open space, so that we can ask cultural things, so that we can learn about each other. Because the only way to get rid of any kind of racism or prejudice or anything like that is based through knowledge and learning. That's the only way we'll break this curse that we've been going through. You know, right now America's not in the best of states. You know, we're basically a cunt hair away from a damn civil war. You know, and if we don't start breaking our past habits and start having these hard communications, you know, it could get bad. And I'd rather see it get better, and it will get better as we engage, as we learn to respect each other, as we learn to respect each other's cultures, their norms, you know, whatever it is. It's all a matter about learning, because ultimately racism is just derived from fear, hate, lack of knowledge, which is ignorance. You know, we could help the ignorance by giving knowledge to ignorance. You know, if you're fearful, you know, we can help the fear by giving you knowledge so you're not fearful. You know, the hate, you know, I don't know about what we could do about the hate, but we could start by having a conversation and respecting everybody. You know, I respect y'all, y'all respect me. No trolls inside this joke. I don't want to see nobody, because we ain't coming on that BS. We coming on some real stuff so that we can converse with people of all cultures and communities. You know.
And I would like to add that I also think that we need to, on this platform, I'm gonna disclose a lot about myself, but I'm gonna wait until each episode, so that with each topic I will disclose why I feel like that from a personal perspective. We also, I feel like, need to address colorism within our community, and the difference between prejudiceness and racism. Those topics, I think, it's going to be influential. influential. Definitely editing that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be influential with building an uncomfortable conversation, because that's where I feel like the lack of unity is coming in between melanated people. Is a lack of boundaries, understanding different cultures and boundaries, and colorism is like a plague within our community that we need to address and focus on.
Amen. Amen.
Let the church say amen. Amen.
Amen. All right, y'all. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're starting up our production right now, but our website's coming. Everything's gonna come together, guys. You know, we're gonna have open communication with all you guys. I want you guys to engage with us. As for right now, like and subscribe to this video if you want to see more. You know, get us over 1,000 viewers so that we're able to do some live streaming for you guys. I already got it scheduled. We want to do Monday, Wednesday, Fridays live with you guys. Get us over 1,000 so that we could do that there. Other than that, you guys be blessed, be safe, and be good to each other.
And now we're going to say hashtag the experience, hashtag uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah. Hashtag the experience, and check out the links below.
1, 2, 3. Hashtag the experience, hashtag uncomfortable conversation. 1, 2, 3.
Hashtag the experience, hashtag uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. All right. And cut. All right. That was good.